Welcome to the MetaView podcast. I'm your host, Pete. This is my podcasting voice, and this is where some of the brightest minds come. They come here to give you their MetaView. Hope you enjoy. Nadia, welcome to the MetaView podcast.
Thank you.
This came out of the conversation with the MetaGammaDelta about getting MetaGammaDelta to join MetaGame, and then it was suggested by Juliana that I should talk to you about all the other different kinds of things. So yeah,
Yes, well, I think MetaGammaDelta inside the metagame will be awesome, and we can do a lot of stuff together.
awesome, perfect. Yeah, really looking forward to it. You want to give an intro on yourself and what do you do with MetaGammaDelta?
Yes. Well, I live in different places in Latin America because of my work. I have to be in different places in the region. And someone told me about Juliana because she runs a community in Brazil. And I started talking with her, and then she told me about MetaGammaDelta, and I thought, wow, this is so awesome because, well, as a woman in crypto, you don't see many of us. But I was wrong, and then I joined the MetaGammaDelta DAO, and I just was surprised about all the women in the space, and it was incredible because actually we do different things. We had our first project as a DAO that was a grant for crypto projects which were led by women, and we did everything from scratch. We organized the program. We also raised the funds to give the grantees of this program. And we also created a process of selection of the best project that reflected our mission as a DAO. So we were looking for projects in the space, like crypto projects, which were thought as a solution for everyone. It was, we were looking for solutions for maybe emerging markets, for example, or people who don't have access to content about crypto in a easily way. So we were open to everything. Like it could be a project, an application, an app. It could be also an education program. It could be whatever, but it had to be oriented to these minorities, women, emerging markets, unbanked people, any minority. And it was really great. It took us almost 4 months to create the whole process, to find funds for the grantees, to find the grantees, and then the selection of the project. So it was great. And that was just like one project of what we do inside the DAO, because we also have these weekly meetings where we try to keep us up to date about what is going on in the space. We all work in different crypto projects. So usually we explain to others what we do in the project where we work, what is this about, why is it relevant for us. And well, that is also very cool. But I think that one of the most important and awesome parts of be part of the Metal Gamma Delta DAO is to get to know other women in the space, and to know that, well, there's someone who works there and can help you with something that you need. That is awesome. So it's a very open group and very friendly, and you can find a lot of different people there with different profiles. So that's very interesting.
Right, yeah, that's very awesome. It's interesting that like we have so many of these like programs, like grant programs and activities and whatnot, but in the end,
the main part of these DAOs is just a social support group and just interesting and cool people to hang out with.
Yes, yes. It's so sad that the DAO was created this year, like these crazy COVID years. So we haven't been able to meet in person. We just hang out like in a Zoom meeting, but it will be great when this COVID thing ends and we can like meet each other and do stuff like in real person, like in reality.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have the same problem in metagame. Like most of us have never met each other, and we've been working together for a year. And yeah, really looking forward to meeting all these people. But you said you actually found out about MetaGammaDelta through your local community.
Yes, I was looking like a part of my job, my full time job is for Maker. I work as a biz dev for Maker for Latin America. So I'm always like in changing country and looking for an Ethereum community, a local community, like a developer community to understand like how what they are doing in the country, in the city, and understand the needs of them. And like it's a good starting point for me to generate like more DAI traction and get to know more partners and more people using DAI and integrating any of the Maker protocol services. So when I was like doing my research about Brazil, I found out about this big community which is run by Juliana. So I contact her and we started like talking, and that's when she told me about the DAO.
Very cool. Yeah, and I like that you said that your grant program wasn't just focused on women-led projects, but also like any underrepresented group, and yeah, making social impact and not just building something for the crypto people.
Yes, I think that's very important for us. And for what I read in your wiki, the meta game is like something we have in common. Like, I think almost all the projects are created for the same crypto people, the same crypto people who hang out in Twitter. And I think the people who need it the most, this kind of technology, are the ones who are like the minorities who are not supported by their financial system or their local banks or their government. And crypto is like the solution for that kind of people. And I'm talking about this because that's my experience with DAI. Right now in Latin America, DAI is seen not as a cryptocurrency, but as another currency, like a digital dollar, but with crypto, but decentralized. So it has been like a very cool opportunity for me to mix both things, like the incredible solutions we are you can find in the blockchain space, but with the reality and the people who need it the most.
Right. And why do you think that is so? Do you think like the crypto community is just not well connected to these types of communities that really need crypto, that are like tend to not be from the US and like tend to not be from like the same demographic of young white guys? Or do you think it's just that the crypto people don't care about these use cases because it's like you can't really make money off of the people who need money? Or why do you think that is so?
Well, I think for a crypto project, like at the beginning, they are looking for volume, probably. Like they think that a good metric for adoption is volume. And I think that's correct because if you want to see like a quick return, if you have high volume in your platform, you can have returns on that. But then, and that is what I'm saying, is like the next step for these crypto projects are if you're looking for users and if you don't care that much about volume, then you have to go outside the crypto community because we are all the same. Like we are all using the same DeFi projects. And outside this crypto community, which is amazing because like we are doing like incredible stuff every day, is all these people who really need these solutions. But the problem is that we have to improve usability if we want to increase adoption and if we want to go outside the crypto community. And I think this is what I'm seeing is like a work in progress. And I'm very surprised and very happy about different projects in the space who reach out to me and ask me like for an advice or like some guidance to start working in Latin America because they are seeing an incredible potential here. Like they are seeing a real impact and a lot of users who don't don't come from the crypto world, but they need these kind of solutions because, as I said before, their financial system is broken. They can trust in their currency, and crypto is like the only solution they have right now. So I think it's a work in progress, and I am completely sure that I will see more and more which started with the crypto community, but they will have plans to expand and increase adoption with all these users who need their technology.
Right. Yeah, I think for a lot of the things it makes sense to build it for ourselves first, because like if we aren't using it, then like how can we have anybody else use it? And we are taking the same approach with metagame. Like the so far everything has been focused on just setting up the core infrastructure for ourselves so that we know that it works, and like building the basic tools. And now we are finally starting to get into like educational stuff and building a platform that can be used by like normal people. And yeah, lately we finally started getting into people who aren't from crypto. But I think like most of the people that we are getting are still the people from developed countries. We don't really have many people from these countries that really seem to actually need crypto, like on that level that like their financial system is completely broken and that their currency is inflating like crazy and all that.
Well, yes. Well, fun fact is that like the country with mm, most users of DAI in the world is Argentina. So I think it just like makes sense to make like an extra effort to translate the content, translate the applications because our standard is English in the crypto space. But if you want to get more users, you have to speak their language. So we like do this extra effort and translate the content, the applications, and create like more user friendly tools. I think that will be great because I think that's the next step for all of us now. Just go outside crypto and try to get the normal people, as you said, and like create adoption, real adoption.
Yeah, yeah, we've been talking about that for years, but it feels like we are finally getting there.
Yes. Well, this is fun because one thing that I also was very surprised about MetaGammaDelta is that you can find a lot of women from different emerging markets. Well, there is Juliana from Brazil. Then you can find me that I live in Argentina. There are some from Colombia. Just like a couple of weeks ago, we have this new member from Venezuela. So it's very interesting, like a very diverse community inside the Metagama Delta DAO.
Yeah, that's very cool. And why do you think you are so much more diverse than the other communities? Like you are focused on getting in women, which like it makes sense that you have a lot of women which are like definitely very underrepresented in the space. But it's also that you're getting women from all of these. Most of the people are from the U.S. and Europe.
Yeah, I think I don't have an answer for that, but I think that's Juliana's special secret. I have no idea what she did. I think that it's very interesting that she was the creator of the DAO, and well, she's a woman and she's from Brazil, so I think that that makes a difference probably. But I'm just guessing. Actually, I have no idea how did she get that? I think that's a good question to ask her.
I love how MetaGammaDelta has developed. It kind of started as a, like in MetaCartel, we realized that we have a huge lack of women, and we had the initiative to get more women. But then there came an idea that there should be a separate DAO, and that came out of, as you know, Eat Denver. And originally, I was thinking like if you want to get more women, why don't we like get them in the MetaCartel? Why are they launching their own DAO? But I think it makes sense, like more DAOs, and yours is definitely geared to onboarding women, and it just works better that way.
Yeah, I think, I don't know why, but it really worked. And I hope next year will become a bigger community. Like, I have seen how the community in Latin America is growing, and there are a lot of women as well. So my guess will be that next year we will see more women from LATAM, like in different DAOs, not just the MetaGamma Delta. I think this could be like the starting point, but then through MetaGammaDelta it's more easy to get to know all these different DAOs and to get involved more in different communities.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so, at least. And you said when you were reading the metagame wiki, it sounds really aligned with what you're doing, not just with MetaGammaDelta, but MakerDAO. And I guess we kind of touched onto that with what you were already talking about, getting people from Latin America and these kind of countries where they need DAI. But did you have something more in mind, like other kinds of initiatives that are kind of similar?
Well, yeah, it's like that's the main point, but you can go through that in different ways. But for me, it's like the cryptocurrencies in general and DeFi, what gives you is completely freedom from the traditional financial system. Well, and I think this is like the big difference we have here, and that's why if you want adoption, you have to come to emerging markets, because if you live in the US or if you live in Europe, like, why don't you trust in the dollar? What are you not going to trust in the euro? Like, the system kind of works, but in here it's a mess. Like, you can't, living in Argentina is like, oh my god, it's so difficult because you have to be, you're always thinking about the dollar, about the inflation, about the devaluation, about, okay, I have some pesos, Argentinian pesos, the local currency. I can't save that. I can like put that in my pocket because I'm losing money. So you're always like, not just me, I'm talking like the average person in Argentina. They are always looking for alternatives to keep the value of their money, because they know that like this is not something new. It has been happening for the last, I don't know, 15 years, something like that. So you have like a generation who was raised thinking on how you can keep the value of your money, and you can keep your money in Argentinian pesos. You have to convert it to dollars or something else. So in that scenario, cryptocurrencies and DeFi is like the solution, and that is why I started to work for Maker. Before Maker, I used to work for big corporations who provide services to financial companies, and I knew the system was completely broken, because like it was impossible to work with them. They don't care about people, they just care about their stock. And and I don't think that's fair. Like, I see a lot of people, like my friends, my family, who are not being able to think about their future. Like, they can't think about in a long term period because they don't know if they are going to have enough money, because of these problems that the devaluation and the inflation brings to their your daily life. So when I understood Maker's proposition, I thought, okay, this is great, because you have a stable currency and you don't have to trust in a bank. You can be your own bank. And then with all these new DeFi projects like Compound, Aave, and well, the next. projects that appeared in the space. Now you can also like savings account for your crypto and earn interest over your savings. And if you want to get a loan, you can also do it, but you don't need to do a KYC process. It can be immediately. So it has like a lot of advantages that it's almost impossible to find in a financial company in your own country. So I think we need to work more towards that, so more people can like start using DeFi, because that will be like a life changing. And I know like a million of stories here in Argentina and in Venezuela, who are like the countries with the worst currency in the region. And when they started to use DAI, like their life changed because they were able to save their money, like to keep the value of their money, to start making some plans for the future, because it's a currency that is something that you can trust, because it is possible to verify what crypto project is telling you. And also you have all these amazing investment opportunities. Of course it has their own risk, but it's more riskier to have your money in a Venezuelan bank or in an Argentinian bank. So yes, we are like helping a lot of people. Like I'm always happy to tell this story because inside the crypto space, like we are building all these amazing solutions, but usually you don't know all the impact that these solutions brings to normal people, because normal people is using it in these countries, and like they had, yes, it's a life changing solution. So I'm very happy to keep working for the DeFi space and bring more adoption.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's no longer fair to say, like what people used to say is that crypto is not really useful for anyone, because you see these videos of people like using shovels to move pesos from the boardwalk, and it's like it's obvious that they need crypto. And I think at this point it's kind of safer to hold Ether than it is to hold Argentinian pesos.
Oh yeah, totally, totally. You can look at, there has been like people who compares the fluctuation of the price of the Bitcoin or of the Ether during the last, I don't know, 5 years, and they compare it to the Argentinian peso or the Venezuelan bolivar, and yes, you will be like, it's always like the best choice is always crypto, not fiat in those cases.
Right. Yeah. So DAI is kind of like the gateway drug for them.
Yes, yes. I mean, for me, Ether is money totally. But if you start to talk with people who never tried crypto and they are afraid of the price fluctuation, stablecoin is the best way to start to understand crypto. And this is also amazing because you can find people in LATAM who which their fifth cryptocurrency is DAI, not Bitcoin, not Ether, is DAI, because they are looking for a stable asset to just to keep the value of what they have. So that's also interesting.
Yeah. I mean, the dollar is not exactly safe either, but at least it's devaluating a lot slower than the peso.
Of course, yes. I mean, if you don't have any other option, of course you have more smart investments to do than the dollar or a stable coin. But when you don't have any other option, and you need like to know that you can count with certain amount of money next week or next year, that a stable coin is the less riskier option they have.
And what are your thoughts on like the local currencies? And if you're familiar with the project called Grassroots Economics, which is using XDAI to power the local economy.
I don't know the project. I would like to read about it. I know, of course, I know XDAI, and I find amazing what XDAI is doing for the community. And I think when every DeFi project start using a layer 2 solution, it will be like amazing for this adoption effect that we want to create. Because of course, one of the problems we have right now are the gas fees. They are so high that it's impossible to think about micropayments or to more users or more transactions. Yeah, well, that's my opinion about XDAI. I think without a layer 2 solution is the best alternative we have. And I have seen a lot of communities here in Latam which started to use DAI, but then after the gas fees increased, they were looking for an alternative and they found out about XDAI and started to use XDAI. So I think that's great. Yeah. But I don't know about this project you just mentioned. So please send me more information. And I find that interesting.
Yeah, I think the Ethereum mainnet is unusable for anyone who wants to use it for like small amounts. Like they can't really use it for anything. It's not just like a holding account. I was hoping that you would know more about this project because it's using DAI and like I haven't really looked too deeply into it, but it's a pretty interesting project and it's been going on for a while. I think it's based in Africa and it's called the Grassroots Economics and they're using DAI to power their local currency. And so they hold I think like something like 10 or maybe 20% of the reserve in DAI, and then on top of that they create their own DAI for I don't know what they call it, like I guess it's something like X DAI, like they add some letter or something, but they're basically their own like local DAI which they use to like for local people who create value in the community like local shops and whatnot, and they use it to kickstart the economy because when you are using DAI you still need DAI, like you need all of the DAI that you have, like that you need to do something, and like in this way they could just basically use DAI as reserve but mint their own token for like to represent their own value, which I think like these local currencies are really like what will actually get these small economies to do things, because yeah, you can get them a stable currency from the outside but they need to be able to buy it to be able to transact with it.
Lately I have seen more interest about in government about this decentralized feature that the DAI has, because right now we live like in this crazy world that is all connected and is much easier right now than before to confiscate funds because of the creditors or because like governments that own tons of money to other country. So I know that there are a lot of governments like doing a research about alternatives for a currency to have a treasury that is not possible, at least technically, is not possible to confiscate. So I think we will see like interesting use cases for decentralized currencies in the future.
Yeah, they will definitely be popping up. My hope is that people won't actually need these currencies and that they will be able to start their own local economies. But yeah, looks like the whole world, along with the governments, is kind of moving to closer to crypto.
Hmm. Yes, yes, that is interesting. Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you more about the MetaGammaDelta. Like, what's yeah, I know you closed the grant round and you had a few more projects that you didn't have enough funds for, and I know that in MetaCartel we already offered to give additional support to these projects. And yeah, besides that, I'm also curious, like, do you have any other next plans on what you plan on doing?
Yes, yes. Well, I told you before, this was our first grant, and we didn't know if we were going to have like people interested in that or if there were going to be like more than 5 projects led by women in the space. So we were like with a lot of questions about if this is going to be a success, like that this will have the impact that we need to look for a second grants round. And yes, we were like so happy about that because we got like I think more than 30 applications for the grant. We had two different categories. One was like the general category, and the other one was sponsored by makers. So we were looking for projects which integrated any of the maker protocol solutions. And we got a lot of people who wanted to apply for both grants. So that was great. And yes, it was like a happy problem because we found out like a lot of cool projects with all these that I told you before, with a mission which was like similar to our mission, like projects focused on minorities, projects led by women, of course. So it was great, but we didn't have enough money to give to all those projects. So that's why we decided to do something with MetaCartel and like give support to all these other incredible projects that applied for our grant. And next plan, yes, after this big success we had, we want to go through a second round, but we don't have like we didn't decide yet when or how or if it's going to be the same as we did before or if we are going to change something. Of course, we learned a lot of things that we will improve. For example, this is very funny, but when we created a form for the projects who wanted to apply to the grant, and we forgot to put the email address of the one who was applying. So it was like, yeah, I know. So it was very complicated when we wanted to contact the project. It was like very complicated to find how are we going to contact them. So that's something we learned. And yes, I think I'm pretty sure we're going to do it again, but I'm also know for sure that we are going to do something different. Like right now, the MetaGammaDelta has more members right now, so I think that will improve the process, and we will have more hands to help, and we will create like a better process based on what we learn, and also with all these new members who can help to create like a much better guarantee process.
Awesome. Yes, we learned a lot. And we actually had a similar problem with the metagame. I made a sign up form and I didn't put in like a Discord field or an email field. I put in, can you like give us your email or your Discord? Like, do you no? It said, do you want us to contact you through email or Discord? And then the people just answer Discord or email. And like, yeah, but okay, but where?
Exactly. So yes, it's funny, but well, you just learn by doing, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what this is pretty much. And do you have some kind of a page or a list or somewhere where you have like all the projects that are led by the women from MetaGammaDelta, or at least the project that you have funded or something on the website? Like a directory of all the projects that not necessarily just the project that you funded, but like the projects from the members of the MetaGammaDelta.
I think we don't have that. I mean, probably it's somewhere on a spreadsheet, but at least that's something we could improve. Because I don't think we have like a website or a place where you can find all the members and the projects and all of that information. And it's something important to have. I think it is somewhere, but it's like in a random Google Drive. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be something that you like from metagame. We just built these my meta profiles, which is yeah for building the member directory for the DAOs. It says like what kind of skills do you have, like what kind of things do you do, what DAOs you're a member of. We just added an NFT gallery yesterday, and yeah, that would be something useful to you.
Oh wow, that's great. Yes, we have to talk about the Metagamma Delta. I think we definitely we need to use something like that.
Yeah, thinking what what other ways we could collaborate? Like the most basic thing I can see is just having more women from MetaGammaDelta join MetaGame. But I would like to see something on more of a DAO to DAO level, not just people joining MetaGame, but actually like DAOs collaborating. Do you have any ideas for that?
Well, yes, I think the next grant that we will plan at some point, we can do it together because I think you are looking for the same as we do. Like we are looking for projects which can make the difference and it could be oriented to minorities. So we can organize the next grants round together. I think that will be great because, well, I don't know that much about metagame. I promise I will like read everything I can about you because I am very interested about what you're doing. But I think we have a lot to learn about you. You seem so organized, and we need a little bit more of that.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because to me it doesn't feel very organized, but we're definitely getting better. Like in the past few months, definitely a lot better. It used to be all a mess. But I think you touched up on a great point, which is that even the project that you already founded would be probably good to bring inside metagame. At least we could like list them on our website if they are cool projects, just to help get them more people or help them with like finding members for their project, like contributors or whatever. Which is that's kind of our goal with metagame, just to help different projects find what they're looking for, whether it's funding or like members or just visibility. So that's something.
Well, yes, actually, now that you say that, thought exactly that. Like sometimes the project is not just looking for money. Sometimes they need resources or like introductions or relationships. So that's something that we can offer through metagame. Because we saw like there are a lot of projects who are looking for, I don't know, for an audit or their smart contracts, for example, or they are looking to become even like larger and go through partnerships. So they need like contacts in other countries or with other projects, things like that. And what I like about you and this guide, this like guide where you can find all the members and what they are doing and what their skills are, I think that's great because when you find a project and this project needs something in particular, you can just like look through the members guide from all the DAOs or the at least the MetaGammaDelta and the MetaGame DAO and find people who can help them.
Right. Yeah, the next step for us is we are building the profiles for the projects. So right now the profiles are just for individual people, but now we're building them for the projects, and then which is like almost done. And then the next step would be just to have a place where people can publish when they're like looking for people for their to help with their project and things like that. Just post a request for help, which would get like posted on the website, but also across the at least our Discord or potentially like the wider Meta ecosystem Discord. But yeah, I think what we can do that's good, like which just helping people, mostly people who aren't from crypto, like we cut them on a lot of time by simply because we are very well connected in the Ethereum space. So like whatever they need, we're like, okay, so you can find that there. Like, okay, you need those kind of people, you can find them there. Like just plugging them around, which is like low effort for us but high impact for the people. So I think that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. That's super helpful.
I had one more thing in mind, but it slipped. What was it? I'll probably remember it after we end this call, and then I'll be like, God damn it.
Yes, I told you we had to do this earlier because right now it's late for you.
And yeah, we should do like after. I mean, I already wrote that in the Telegram chat, but yeah, we should do a MetaGammaDelta and MetaGame meetup sometime in January. That would be cool.
Yes, I will tell Saji to send you the invite for the next meeting because I think will be great if you can just like introduce metagame and tell all the metagamma delta what are you doing, and that will be perfect. I know that all the members of our DAO will be happy to join your DAO as well because, as I said, I find both communities very similar. So they just have to know you and understand what are you doing.
Perfect. I'd be happy to join. And do you have like public calls, or do you just have like DAO only calls?
Nope, num num. We have public calls. I mean, our calls are public, but the access we use Slack. The access to our Slack channel is just if you're a member.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. Do you have a Discord? Yeah, that was the question that slipped.
Yes, no, Slack and Telegram.
Okay. And yeah, the reason I'm asking you is whether your call is public is because I wanted to add the weekly calls of all the guilds that will be joining like the meta game for the season one. I wanted to add them like their events to the calendar so that people can have one calendar and be able to see all the events from the ecosystem. Yeah, perfect. And so then that means that you are open to like having people that aren't women. I mean, you already have them in the DAO.
Yes, of course. I don't know, but yes, of course. Like it's open to anyone, but anyone who wants to support minorities. That's the idea.
All right, and unless you have something else to add, I ask every guest on this podcast is that if you had one advice for metagame, what would it be?
Well, no, I think yes, my advice will be like, yes, remember that there's a world outside the crypto space and they need what we are doing. That's my advice.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great advice both for like actually helping people and for us to know that okay, what we are doing actually matters because yeah, you do after working for months, you do sometimes wonder like, is this all? Does this make sense for the rest of the world? Because yeah, we are very siloed here.
But yes, what we do is incredible and it has a lot of impact.
Perfect. Yeah, looking forward to making more impact. Right. Yeah, it was great talking to you, and see you on the meetup, and see you on the MetaGammaDelta call, and yeah, and other places.
Yes, yes, please. Well, have a great night and week.
Yeah, thank you, you too. All right. Yeah, see you.
Okay.
See you around.